So what's the first thing that we got to have? Bend. Right? Bend. So now that I got bend in the head and the neck, the next thing I'm going to be aiming for is bend in here. I don't want to take this lesson too long, or I'll have nothing to sell you guys someday. But where you're going to see here is when I ride this horse, is that when I pull on this rein, if this foot doesn't stop them from coming into the middle of my circle, then they're going to come into the middle of my circle. So if it stops them from coming because I'm trying to get this horse round on the circle, right, then this foot is driving these ribs up over their ear. These here make that soft. However you want to word it in your horsemanship that you've trained throughout your life, your ribs, you get your ribs soft, you'll get their mouth soft. All right? Now, let me explain this a different way. Think of a tire. If you cut a tire in half. Now we got a half and a half, right? And the tire is shaped like this. Until we train these ribs are trained like this. Horses are going to go around like this. That's not good. That's not an athletic move. If I'm going to the right. If I'm going to the left, it's very athletic. We have to train these ribs to do the opposite. That tire, we're going to turn that tire around. That tire, instead of being shaped like this, we're going to shape that tire like this. If we can shape these ribs like this, then that energy comes up over and we get that. Did you see what my feet did in order for that to happen? These make that soft. You're going to see this now once I'm going to do a few little things here to start getting my horse soft, and then you're going to see me canter off into the circle. So I'm going to head out to the right first. See how this foot is making this horse get over top of that bridle. One rein at a time, we're going to get the ribs soft. One side at a time, one circle at a time, or one direction at a time. You're going to see me. I'm going to start making my circle, and I'll stop once in a while to get my horse round. If I can get my camera girl to follow me, maybe stand in the middle. And then can I pull them shoulders over themselves? Right? Because I'm going to need, in the barrel race, you're going to need that shoulder to follow this rein. Just like that. For a while we're going to use a lot of support, but I'm going to phase it out as time goes on. So watch, you'll see my horse, he's going to be shaped to the left going to the right, and I'm going to work on softening these ribs up. So there's two things that I'm going to do that are very important in my circle. I'm going to try and not work on my rein too much and just use if the outside of you is leaning on the fence, I'm going to pick the outside of you up and come through my camera girl on the inside of her. I've got to pick them shoulders up enough and keep bothering them shoulders from leaning out and pulling them through the middle, that pretty soon I've kind of built my own round pen without having a round pen. And then when they lean in, so when I'm farthest away from the barn, them shoulders will lean in, I'm going to take my feet and push my horse up into his face, and that's going to stand them ribs up in the middle. Remember that tire? Obviously, if it's leaning towards the barn, that shoulder's going like that, I'm going to push on that inside rib, push him up over his face, and then that rib gets like that. All right? The other thing that you're not going to see, a lot of drive from my core. A lot of focus and a lot of drive on where I'm going. Right? And then here's the other thing I want you guys to know. When I make this corner, I don't want to come through this corner like this. See how flat and straight that is? when I make that corner, you're going to see me, it will be, this is getting a little technical, but I'll be pushing. If I'm going to make this corner, there's my direct rein, I want to come through there with an arc. So I'm actually pushing a little more with the inside than the outside. I want an arc. That's the start of your barrel. That's that arc coming into that barrel. You don't want to turn a barrel like this, flat. So when you make that, you got to start training. So when you come through there, that this here, this core, when you make a corner, when you pick up on reins, horses will naturally slow down. So you have to be using your core to drive them up into themselves. So you're going to see that corner that I make there, just like here. If I make this corner to come through, see how I'm coming through with an arc? There's a little more inside leg than outside leg to come through with an arc. All right, we're going to trot around here, try and leave him be. He knows the circle now. And watch him get flat once in a while. And watch him get arced once in a while. See how he's kind of gawking off? That's all right. We don't need to be too trainy. I know this horse has got a great mental side of him, and then that means I also know that he's got a good emotional side, so I'm not too worried. I know if I get this horse just a little bit tired, he'll start gawking. He'll quit gawking off at the other horses. So that's pretty good for me. Like, see how neutral I am with my reins? That tells me, like, he's got an arc, and he's reaching. He's going like this around the circle, not good. I'm going to have to hold him and make a circle constantly. Okay, now we're going to canter off. The arc.
Joe, maybe describe what you mean by arc so they understand.
Arcs?
Yeah.
This is an arc. I'm shaped to the right, going to the right.
Okay.
Or I could be shaped to the right, shaped to the left, going to the right, and then I'd have to hang on to him. Don't want that. I'm going to try and get this horse really round someday. You'll see even as this ride goes on. See how I'm pulling on the nose? If this foot isn't driving him forward, he's going to go into the middle. This foot gets him in an arc. So now that I have the emotional part, I've built myself this round pen that he's not leaving. Now I can work on the physical. Now I will pull on some reins. And I'm going to start softening them. See that? And let go. And you do it, and you do it, and you do it. See? Keep driving. Drive, drive, drive. Let go. It's a daily thing for us. Softening one rein at a time. My arc now? See that arc? See how he's reaching? You get going into your barrels with that kind of an arc, into a right barrel with a right arc, without having to physically hold them and put that arc, you're going to be way ahead of the game. Okay, I'm going to make a corner for you just so you see. Here's a corner. See the arc in my corner? I didn't come through my corner like this. Don't want to come through the corner like that. You can really feel underneath there how they're not reaching. you come through the corner like this with an arc, you can feel the inside of my horse reaching and keeping its balance. You don't need quite as good a ground if your horse will do that. Barrel racers. Alright, so now, let's just say that everything's going perfect, which it is pretty good. Let's pull on 2 reins. Let's see if we can take 2 tires and make them go like that. Let's see what happens. Push with my core. Oh, look at that. Drive, 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 and let go. Pull on 2 reins. Drive with my core. Drive, drive. Look at my focus. Look where I'm looking. Softness. And let go. Alright? Could I put my reins in one hand now? Just kind of canter around here. Right? Because we're done now going this direction. And I want to stop farthest away from the barn.